Hey, sports fans, I want to welcome everyone to another edition of Sportsmemo's College Football Forecast. I'm your host, world champion handicapper, Las Vegas' biggest daily sports bettor, Joe D'Amico. Sports fans, you're going to receive a ton of free winners from some of Sportsmemo's documented winning cappers. Today's show, off the charts. We feature Rocky Atkinson, Ronald Cabang, Jesse Schule, and yours truly, Joey D. Sports fans, during the show, you're going to see discounted promos. Scroll across your screen. Take advantage of those discounts because over at Sports Memo, we know that saving you money is just as good as making you money, and we want to earn your trust. Let's jump right in. Let's get some free college football winners. I want to start with one of my oldest friends in the business, one of my favorite people in the world, let alone in this business, Mr. Rocky Atkinson. Rocky, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate you having me.
I love having you here. We've worked together so many times, sports fans, and try not to mix us up. I know we look and sound a lot alike. Just kidding. But, Rocky, I see your name constantly over on the leaderboards. You've been doing some great work over at Sports Memo. Can you tell our viewers your first college football free winner, please?
Yeah, I'm going to look at the Nevada Wolfpack as they travel to Kansas State to take on the Wildcats on Saturday afternoon. The game time's around 2 p.m. Eastern time. My Rocket Man line for this game is Nevada to win by over 14 points here. Both teams come in with 2-0 records on the season so far. Nevada is averaging 376.5 passing yards per game, a whopping 479.5 total yards per game so far this season. Nevada's 6-1 against the spread the last 3 years against non-conference teams. Nevada scoring 35.5 points per game while allowing only 13.5 points per game overall this season. Nevada 6-1 against the spread the last 7 games after allowing 20 points or less in their previous game. Kansas State lost their starting quarterback this past week as Skylar Thompson left the game with a knee injury, and he's out for this one and several more. His backup, Will Howard, came in, didn't do well, going 8 for 17, 47% completion percentage, only 76 yards, and had an interception as well. So I'm going to recommend a play on Nevada over Kansas State in this one.
Mr. Rocky Atkinson, telling everybody out there, take Nevada. Rocky, like I said, always on the leaderboards over at Sports Memo. Can you tell our viewers what you have going on the premium side this Saturday college football, please?
Well, last night I cashed with the New York Giants in the NFL, and I'm now documented 80% with all of my premium football plays this year. On Saturday, I have a college football game of the week goes Saturday night. And in the NFL Sunday, I have 2 premium plays looking to cash and have another big weekend.
Rocky A tells everybody to take Nevada, and he's on the leaderboards. I love it. We're going to go right into our next step. Now, sports fans, you know the hit song, Shebang, Shebang? Well, we have the hit handicapper, Cabang, Cabang. Mr. Ronald Cabang, I love you, Ronald. Welcome to the Sports Memo College Football Forecast.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me again. Like the last couple of weeks, the last couple of shows have been awesome. But yeah, so the first game, Rocky, I also hit the Giants last night too. So we did well on that one. Yeah, my college game. My first college game is going to be Michigan State at Miami, Florida. Michigan State has been on cruise control the first 2 weeks, and Miami has been struggling. They were smacked around by Alabama in week 1. They barely squeaked out a win against App State last week, but they're still 6.5-point faves in this game. So I think this is sort of going to be a letdown spot for the Spartans after putting up 2 strong offensive showings. I think Miami's defense will tighten up and contain the Spartan run game. And offensively, look for De'Aaron King to have his first big game of the year against the Spartan defense, who's only had 1 takeaway so far this season. So I'm taking the U minus 6.5.
Ronald Cabang. By the way, Ronald, if me and De'Aaron King would get married, he'd be De'Aaron D'Amico. In any case, that's a thinker. Ronald Cabang, I love you. You're always such a great sport, but you're always on the darn leaderboards. Can you tell our sports fans out there what you have going on the premium side, college football, please?
Yeah, I think I'm going to be having 2 premium games. I'll be posting those Friday night, and I think the premium game is going to be in the afternoon. So you'll have some time to purchase those plays in the morning, Saturday morning.
Go out, get you, Capper. You know him as Ronald Cabang over at Sports Memo. Sports fans, by the way, across the bottom of your screen, 55% off any capper on this broadcast. 3-day package. Use code Forecast55. Listen, we want to save you money. We want you to dip your toe before you dive into the pool. We want to earn your trust. Speaking of earning trust, he's batting third, man, but he can play cleanup in any league. I'll tell you right now, one of my favorite people in the world, let alone the business, Jesse Schule. Jesse, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Joe. I think I'm batting 500 on this show so far, which that'd be fantastic in baseball, but not so great in handicapping. So let's try and step it up this week, why don't we? So I'm looking at Nebraska plus 22.5 against Oklahoma. And of course, we all know Oklahoma's the better team, but I'm not sure they deserve to be 22.5 point favorites against barely anybody, really. You saw their opening game against Tulane. They gave up 35 points, 396 yards of total offense. It seems to be an ongoing story with Oklahoma. They can score, but they can't stop their opponents from scoring. Nebraska, meanwhile, people are down on Nebraska. They lost their season opener to Illinois. Well, that's 2 years in a row now they lost to Illinois. They bounced back with 2 solid wins. Quarterback Adrian Martinez, he's not the flashiest guy. He's no Spencer Rattler. He's no Baker Mayfield. He's no Dwayne Haskins or Jalen Hurts, but he hasn't turned the ball over this season. And 728 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. I think Nebraska can score. I got Nebraska hanging in there, covering that 22.5.
Jesse the Body Schule coming in with the Cornhuskers. Jesse on the leaderboard, always at Sports Memo. Please tell everybody out there watching, because I know they want to know what you have going on your premium side, Saturday college football.
Well, this Saturday, it's going to be go big or go home. I'm looking at having at least 10 plays, starting with English Premier League in the morning before the college football starts. I'm 6-1 so far in the Premier League this year, coming off of my first loss of the season last week. So, we're going to bounce back this week.
There you go, Jesse Schule. Go get him, at least for a 3-day package, maybe longer, because he wins on a consistent basis. Go over to Sports Memo. Use that 3-day 55% off discount code Forecast55. Sports fans, just like me, I'm going to keep my write-ups this week very short and extremely sweet. I want to talk about Purdue, Notre Dame. My friends, I know they're on TV every week. I know they're a fan favorite, but for the life of me, I can't figure out how Notre Dame can be ranked 12th in the nation. Guys, they have no rushing attack whatsoever. Their quarterback, Wisconsin transfer, Jack Crone. I know a lot of people are excited about him, but it's not his 6 touchdowns that impress me. It's his 2 interceptions that stand out far more to me, guys. The team needed overtime to beat FSU, and they needed a last-minute score to beat Toledo. Wait a minute. Toledo, guys. Toledo. Come on. Their Swiss cheese-like offensive line has given up already 10 sacks against 2 mediocre defenses. On the flip side, their defense is getting plowed 5 yards per carry. They've allowed 5 touchdowns on the ground. Well, folks, in comes Purdue. Let me try that again. My Hooked on Phonics books didn't come in the mail yet. In comes the Purdue team riding high after a season-opening winning cover over Oregon State, and then a real, what I feel is a confidence builder, 49-0 shutout over UConn. Quarterback Jack Plummer, he's the real deal. He's a great leader. At his disposal, amazing receivers. He's got a tight end named Durham, a wide receiver named Bell. He's also got not 1 but 2 solid ball carriers in Doryu, which, by the way, I love his name, Doryu and Downing. And it's that backfield that's going to earn this team the win here. The Boilermakers, 5-1 against the number of the last 6 games played at the Irish. I like this team outright, but +7 in the hook is an early Christmas present. I'm telling you, take Purdue plus the 7.5, and you're going to take your bookmakers' money. Sports fans, I really, really had a nice opening weekend in college football. 2 weeks ago, I had just 1 play, Nevada, 1 outright. I had 2 major plays this week, won them both. Now, a couple of small plays didn't do so well. I'm very transparent. I like to talk about losses because I have fewer and far between than wins, but they stick out in my crow a lot more. Listen, I don't know how many great dates you've had in your life, but you always remember the bad ones. That's me with losers. I talk about losers because they piss me off. But this weekend, I'm going to tell you, college football Saturday, I am going to crush my book. I have my 87%, no limit. My 64, 26-1 touchdown play. They're already 1-0 this season. My first annihilator, which are on a 17-4 run the last 2 years, and my consensus winner, which are already 2-0. All of which are available right now. Sports Memo. Use that 3-day package. Hell, use a 7-day, use a 30, use whatever you want. Just come aboard with me because by Monday, I'm going to tell you now, you'll name your next born after me. Guys, this is the point. You like that, right? Guys, this is the point in the show. I do a little bit where I talk to one of my favorite people in the world, Randy Bloom, over at the Westgate, The Superbook at the Westgate is one of my favorite places, not just to bet games, but to watch games. Whether you're a local or whether you're visiting, make the Westgate Superbook a stop because you got to at least put a bet in there. They got probably the largest variety of props and anything you want to bet on, but it's an amazing place to watch a game. Anyway, this is one of the busiest books in all the world, let alone Las Vegas. And I talk to them each Friday, and they tell me what lines are moving and who's moving them. I got 4 quick line movements in college. I'm going to say college basketball, guys. Another few more months. College football. First of all, Stanford. They opened at 10.5. It's up to 12.5. It is all sharp money. It is all big money, sharp player money. They expect this line to go up even further. They really, the Sharps are expecting some big things from Stanford, especially this week in this matchup. They love them here. They put up 2 points. They expect it to go up even more. Coastal Carolina, last year's under-the-radar team, at least for the first few months. They opened 11. They're up to 14. Once again, all sharp money, sports fans. This is the wise guy money, the Sharps, the guys that they feel are in the know, the bigger bettors. They are moving this line. They moved it from 11 up to 14. Here's a total that's open. That's open 50.5. It's up to 54. Utah State Air Force. We've been watching these teams the last few weeks. They feel, the Sharps feel, I should say, once again, the sharp money. They are all over the total. They bet up to 54. And even a little while ago, I thought I saw a 54.5 around. They are all over this. So the sharp money on the over, Utah State Air Force. One more, guy. EMU opened up 18. They went up to 22. The masses, not so much, are betting EMU as they are betting against UMass. Let's face it, the 4 guys on the panel and 7 other middle-aged guys that haven't played football in at least a decade can put up 30 or 40 on UMass. Let's be honest, man. It is true. I'm not putting the team down. They got a lot of heart, but it's not so much that they're betting EMU as they're betting against UMass, and that is of just a lot of money coming in. And you know what? They expect it to go up even higher. Guys, that is the first 4 on the sharp and general public money from our friends over the Westgate. Go down to the Westgate. Great place to bet. Great place to watch a game. Let's go right back in to another free college football winner. Let's go. My friend Rocky Atkinson.
Yeah, Joe, I'm going to look at the Old Dominion Monarchs as they travel to Liberty to take on the Flames on Saturday night. Game time, 6 p.m. Eastern time. My Rocket Man line for this game is Liberty by 36. Liberty's 2-0 overall this year. Old Dominion comes in with a 1-1 record on the season. Liberty is averaging 201.5 yards per game rushing, 236.5 yards per game passing, for 438 total yards per game on offense. Their defense is holding opponents to only 53.5 yards per game rushing, 250.5 total yards per game this season. Old Dominion's 12-25 against the spread the last 37 games on turf. Liberty is a covering machine, 35-13 against the spread the last 48 games overall. They're 26-11 their last 37 games on turf, 29-10 their last 39 non-conference games. They're 8-0 against the spread the last 8 games after an ATS win, and they're 8-0 against the spread the last 8 games after a straight-up win. Old Dominion was beat 42-10 at Wake Forest in their opener this year. Liberty's a team here that went 10-1 last year, including a bowl win over a very good Coastal Carolina team that you just mentioned a few moments ago. They returned most of those starters from that team. And in my opinion, Liberty is way better than Wake Forest. They should get an easy blowout winner here on Saturday.
Rocky A says take Liberty. By the way, sports fans, you want to know what a great forecasting genius and songwriter Elton John was? 50 years ago, he knew Rocky A would be a legend in the handicapping field. He wrote a hit song called Rocket Man because he knew how great Rocky Atkinson would be. That's Rocky Atkinson telling you to take Liberty. I love you, Rocky. We're going to go on over. We want another football winner, college football Saturday, from Ronald Cabang. Ronald, what else you got? You've been on fire on the show. I know our viewers want to know.
Yep, I'm going with the UAB North Texas game. North Texas has been they've had a strong offense this season. They'll need to take care of the ball against an experienced UAB defense. So last week they had 5 fumbles, but luckily none of them were lost. North Texas doesn't have the size that Georgia has, so the Blazers defense should be able to have a better showing this week. Look for the Blazers quarterback Tyler Johnston and running back Dwayne McBride to put up some strong numbers this week. The Mean Green defense has shown improvement from last season, but it's still one of the weaker defenses in the nation. UAB is so much better. than what they showed against Georgia last week. Look for a huge rebound game from them on both sides of the ball. With that said, I'm taking UAB minus 13.
My man Ronald Cabang says UAB minus the points. Take them all the way to the bank. We're going to one of my friends to another. There's only one body in the world, and it's not the Ventura. It is the Schule. Jesse, the body. Schule. Jesse, what else do you have for us? College football Saturday, please.
I'm looking at Cincinnati at Indiana. Cincinnati's minus 3.5, and I like the Bearcats here. The Hoosiers, they were a great team last year. I was quite fond of betting on Indiana last year. They made me some money. They were a great Cinderella story, but they came into this season ranked 17th overall, and I think they were a little bit overrated. It was always going to be difficult to duplicate what they did as a Cinderella story in a pandemic year. And we saw that early on when they got absolutely annihilated in their opening game against Iowa. And the scary thing is, I think Cincinnati's better than Iowa is. And I guess we saw their quarterback, Penix Jr., threw a pair of pick sixes in the loss to Iowa. He's facing a Cincinnati defense that can cause just as much trouble for him. A couple of stats for you. Cincinnati is 6-2 against the spread in their last 8 non-conference games. The Hoosiers are 3-9-1 against the spread in their last 13 as a home dog. I just think the Hoosiers are biting off more than they can chew here.
Jesse, the body. Schule says Cincinnati Bearcats. I love this team. You sold me, Jesse. I'm going to buy. Even though you gave it to me free, I'm going to go to the site and buy it. I need to get it. Sports, I got to love Jesse. I love him. Thank you, Jesse. Another big winner, by the way, always on the leaderboard. Sports fans, 55% off any capper 3-day package. Use code FORECAST55. Scrolling across the bottom of your screen. Yours truly, Joey D. I've got another free winner. I'll talk about a high-profile game. Folks, just like me, once again, short and sweet, my friends. Let's put aside the fact that Alabama is the number one team in the nation. Let's put aside the fact that Florida head coach Dan Mullen is 0-10 in his career against Bama top dog Nick Saban. Let's even further put aside the fact that the Gators have some well-documented quarterback issues. Starter Emory Jones, he's been less than stellar. 264 yards passing, 2 TDs, 4 INTs. He's starting again this Saturday. Those are the bones. Now I'm going to give you the meat, guys. This is the first SEC matchup for Alabama, and they love like a fat guy loves a buffet. They love to make an example of early SEC opponents and make a statement to the rest of the conference. Florida is no match on either side of the ball. This game gets ugly, folks. Here's a few ATS stats for you. The Tide, 7-1 their last 8 conference games, 4-1 the last 5 road games, 5-2 the last 7 games in this series. I know it's 14.5. You don't have to err on the side of caution. They're going to win by 3 to 4 to 5 touchdowns. Take Bama, roll Tide, take them to the bank, baby, because they're going to win. They're going to flex their muscles. They're going to let everybody in SEC know that they're the top dog. Guys, I want to run through the games one more time. Our friend Rocky Atkinson, Nevada and Liberty. Mr. Ronald Cabang, Miami, UAB. Jesse Schule, Nebraska and Cincinnati. Joey D gives out Purdue and Alabama. Guys, you got 8 free winners. Now, we're also going to do an NFL show. You're going to be able to watch that. This will be up Friday. You're going to watch this Friday and Saturday. The NFL show will be up Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. This way, you have a full 3 days to take advantage of the winning information you have from the documented winning cappers over at Sportsmemo. Guys, I want to thank Sportsmemo. But once again, don't overlook that discount across the bottom of the screen. 3 days, 55% off any capper here. Use Forecast 55. I want to thank Sportsmemo, your one-stop shop for all your sports betting needs, our wonderful panel of experts. Most of all, I want to thank you, our viewers, on behalf of Sportsmemo, Mr. Rocky Atkinson, Mr. Ronald Cabang, Mr. Jesse Schule. I'm Joe D'Amico. Good luck and have a winning day.